you are enjoying a beautiful, relaxing evening walk with your dog. The weather is absolutely perfect, the leash is loose, and everything feels right. Suddenly, your dog stops dead in their tracks, buries their nose deep into a patch of weeds, and starts happily munching on the grass. Know exactly what your very first, automatic human instinct is in this exact second. You immediately tighten your grip, aggressively yank the leash backward, and yell, "No, drop it." You do this because almost every pet owner on Earth has been told the exact same century-old myth. A dog eating grass means they are violently sick to their stomach and are about to throw up all over your living room rug. But what if I told you that by pulling on that leash, you just made a massive mistake? You are actively fighting against millions of years of perfectly engineered canine DNA. Today, we are going to completely tear down the myth about dogs and grass. We will decode the hidden evolutionary, nutritional, psychological messages your dog is desperately trying to send you. But I must warn you, by the end of this video, you will realize that while the grass itself is entirely innocent, the modern environment it grows in is not. I will reveal why the simple act of letting your dog graze at your local park is quite literally playing Russian roulette with their life. To understand why your dog is suddenly acting like a little cow, we have to peel back the very first layer of truth, which is buried deep within their wild evolutionary history. We look at our dogs today and see fierce, dedicated carnivores. Biologically speaking, wild wolves and modern dogs are what scientists classify as opportunistic omnivores. Before humans invented perfectly round, baked pieces of dog food, wild canes had to survive on whatever the harsh environment provided. When a wolf pack hunted, an herbivore, like a deer or a rabbit, did not just eat the muscle meat. One of the very first things they consumed was the animal's stomach and intestinal tract. What was inside that stomach? A massive amount of pre-digested plant matter, wild berries, and green grasses. Eating green vegetation is quite literally written deep into your dog's ancestral DNA. Even though your dog sleeps on a plush orthopedic couch and wears a designer sweater in the winter, their brain is still heavily hardwired to seek out the exact same earthy, green nutrition their ancient ancestors survived on thousands of years ago. When they stop to nibble on some tall grass, they are just answering a primal call of the wild. This brings us to the second layer of truth. This one is going to heavily bruise the ego of dedicated pet parents. We need to have a serious conversation about their nutrition. You probably spend an absolute fortune every single month buying the most expensive, premium grain-free kibble on the market. You look at the beautiful packaging, you read the fancy ingredients, and you proudly think you are providing a scientifically flawless diet. But here is the cold, hard reality that the pet food industry desperately wants to hide from you. The extreme heat and pressure used to manufacture processed dry kibble completely destroys fragile, living enzymes. Your incredibly expensive dog food might have high protein, but it is often severely lacking in fresh roughage and raw phytonutrients. When your dog stops to chew on a blade of grass, they are often performing self-medication. They are acting as their own biological nutritionist, instinctively foraging to supplement the exact dietary fiber and living vitamins that your top-tier dog food is secretly failing to provide. I know the diet wars are intense, so let us start a debate in the comments right now. Are you feeding your dog kibble, wet food, or a raw diet, and do they still constantly try to eat grass on their walks? Drop your answer below. We have to look at the third layer, which has absolutely nothing to do with their stomach and everything to do with their brain. Sometimes, eating grass is a purely psychological trigger. Animal behaviorists refer to this as a displacement behavior. Think about what a human does when they feel highly anxious, chronically bored, or socially overwhelmed. They might start bouncing their leg, pacing the room, or mindlessly chewing their fingernails. Dogs experience the exact same spikes in anxiety and stress but they do not have fingernails to chew. The repetitive, rhythmic physical act of plucking, tearing, chewing grass actually stimulates their vagus nerve. It releases a slow, steady stream of endorphins that stabilizes their heart rate variability and instantly lowers their cortisol levels. If your dog is overwhelmed by loud city traffic or bored out of their mind from being stuck inside an apartment all day, the lawn becomes a biological pacifier. They are not hungry. They are desperately trying to self-soothe their own nervous system in a world that is simply too loud for them. So, if eating grass is natural, nutritional, and calming, how do you know when it is actually a massive medical emergency? You need to become an expert at visual diagnosis. You must learn to spot the exact difference between recreational grazing and emergency purging. When a dog is grazing for nutrients or to calm down, their body language is completely relaxed. They will sniff around, carefully select specific, broad blades of grass, and chew them very slowly, almost like a food critic savoring a meal. If you see this, you can relax. But if your dog suddenly drops their head, their body becomes stiff, and they start aggressively ripping up mouthfuls of grass, roots, dirt, swallowing it completely whole without even chewing, you have a massive, immediate problem. They are frantically swallowing the grass so the coarse, unchewed blades will physically tickle the lining of their throat and stomach. They are deliberately trying to make themselves violently sick. Because they have ingested a toxin, their primal brain is screaming at them to purge the poison immediately. If you see this frantic mower behavior, your walk is over. Here is where our peaceful walk takes a terrifying, lethal turn. If your dog is grazing naturally, the grass itself is totally harmless. The invisible, modern world we have built on top of that grass is an absolute microscopic nightmare. When you let your dog eat grass in an apartment complex courtyard, a beautifully manicured public park, or a neighborhood sidewalk, you are playing Russian roulette with their life. Urban grass is a silent chemical war zone. It is regularly drenched in highly toxic industrial herbicides, weed killers, and synthetic fertilizers. When your dog ingests these municipal chemicals, it can cause severe chemical burns in their intestinal tract, irreversible neurological damage, and sudden liver failure. And if the heavy chemicals do not get them, the biological waste absolutely will. Public grass is heavily contaminated with the invisible feces of hundreds of other animals. It is crawling with microscopic parasite eggs like roundworms and hookworms, just waiting to enter your dog's digestive tract. Your dog's evolutionary instinct to eat grass is beautiful and entirely natural. Our chemically soaked modern environment has turned that ancient instinct into a deadly trap. You must provide them with safe, chemical-free alternatives, like growing a small patch of organic wheatgrass indoors. You can never let them gamble their life on public lawns again. And because chemical poisoning from public grass can happen entirely silently, you need to know exactly what the invisible symptoms look like. The clock is ticking the exact second they swallow that toxic grass. Hit the subscribe button right now to learn the life-saving, early symptoms of chemical poisoning you need to look out for before it is incredibly too late. Do not wait until you are rushing a seizing dog to the emergency vet in the middle of the night. Subscribe now and protect your pack.